What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to this late night update regarding Liverpool's summer transfer business. Rather than have you guys sifting through a 2 hour plus stream, I thought I'd just give you the highlights of tonight's late night agenda and we can go from there. So, as always, we'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's get straight into it. So, the main topic of tonight's conversations was obviously the summer transfer business on the live stream. And the first thing that I was asked about really was what's going on with Joe Gomez and that situation. So, to the best of my understanding, because there have been conflicting reports on this. As an example, the Mail said Joe Gomez is set to quit Liverpool as he looks for a transfer away after being left at home for the Ipswich Town game. Now, that's very much at odds with what Paul Joyce and others have said, which, by the way, I believe what Paul Joyce and others have said, that Liverpool are giving Joe some space to time and think as he decides whether he does want to move on and challenge for a position at another club or not. Certainly a bit less sensationalist than the Mail have gone with there, as my understanding. Now, I cannot imagine that Liverpool would be naive enough to sell Joe Gomez and weaken our defence more in a summer where we know we already want to bring in another centre-back unless something is lined up. So, if I'm to be an optimist about the rest of this window, and I'll put my optimist hat on here for a minute, maybe we're trying to line up a few things so that incomings, outgoings match, other clubs, domino effect of maybe a transfer or two of theirs fall into place, and that could be done late. That's the optimistic side of me. The negative side of me also thinks a similar version of events that I've just talked about, but it doesn't pan out how we'd hoped, and then the promises of brighter futures and bigger transfer windows are down the line. So when you start to see stuff again being spoken about by the likes of David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, that Liverpool are open to signing players, the goal is to sign players, but they have to be the exact right ones, Liverpool are still active in the market, blah blah blah, that's all great, but as I've said, we are now, exactly 11 days, 23 hours and 57 minutes as I sit here away from the window slamming shut, and we still haven't done any business or even convinced Trent of a new deal when Real Madrid are sniffing around. And just to give you a little insight into why Madrid might be attractive to Trent as an example, their front six tonight, and I believe they didn't even win the game ironically, their front six tonight was quite strong. They put out a team that featured a front six of Valverde, Zubimendi, Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo. So we can't just assume that Trent's going to stay because he loves the club. We've got to make sure we're proactive and get that deal sorted. Now, the situation with Giorgi Mamardashvili, well, that could have gotten a little bit more complicated according to the Sunday Mirror, who said Jadon Sancho's future could hold the key for Manchester United hijacking Liverpool's deal for Valencia goalkeeper Giorgi Mamardashvili. Now, remember why this deal is stalling on our side. Reports say that there's a valuation difference of about €5 million between what Liverpool wants to pay for Giorgi Mamardashvili and what Valencia are offering. And that's sound if we get the price we want, but if we continue to procrastinate over it and United find a way to tempt Valencia with selling Jadon Sancho or something else, then that's another massive mistake, and that's something that we cannot allow to happen. Now, I'm not up enough for Manchester United's transfer business to know how interested they are in Giorgi Mamardashvili or whether Jadon Sancho wants to go to Valencia or elsewhere or not. I haven't got a clue. But again, it's not good to think that these things are potential excuses for more failures. So we need to go out there and make sure that we attack the remainder of this window. Whether it's Inacio that we bring in, whether it's Jarrad Branthwaite, who, look, I get it. It's really, really unrealistic that Everton sell to Liverpool. I know. But the odds have been tumbling all day, as have been reported by many of the Liverpool aggregator accounts, from 8-1 all the way down to 4-5 on. All that means is people are putting money down on it happening. It doesn't mean the bookies know something we don't. It just means people are putting money on it. That's how the odds work. So, again, I'm not trying to say that's going to happen, but you would have to imagine that with Sepp van den Berg and Joe Gomez both out of the matchday squads, both of their careers at Liverpool up in the air, that the club would have to have some solutions at least being lined up should those deals happen. That's kind of where we're at with most of that stuff. Now, There was some talk tonight from comments about the Zubimendi situation from the Sociedad manager that again got taken out of context and used to maybe try and tease Liverpool fans, not by Sociedad, I mean online, into believing that the deal could be back on. One thing that did interestingly come out about that though, from Mundo Deportivo, was that Liverpool apparently offered Martin Zubimendi triple what he currently earns at Sociedad, giving him about £160,000 or about €200,000 a week, which would have turned him into the 5th highest earner at the club. So that's one thing that came out, but I've nothing at all to indicate that there's any change of heart on any side about that deal. I fully believe he'll stay at Real Sociedad. As much as we'd love to have had him, you know, he made his decision and I don't think he's going to go back on that. So I think that's just more people taking some quotes out of context or looking for something that isn't there, which is understandable. I mean, I've talked myself in and out of many things over the years, from overreading a situation, or maybe it's just people baiting, I don't know. Another few things that popped up was that Joe Gomez is a viable alternative for Newcastle if they can't get the signing of Mark Gay from Crystal Palace over the line. Again, to us, it's kind of semi-irrelevant where Joe Gomez goes, but a replacement for a very, very versatile player has to be there. You know, Joe Gomez saved us last season with his availability at left back, right back, centre back, even DM I think at one point. So keep that in mind. Dave O.C. Kopp had an exclusive news that said Bobby Clark has agreed personal terms with Salzburg. He's set to sign a 5-year deal, Liverpool getting about £10 million, and that he will travel to Austria on Tuesday to complete his move. That is pretty much that where we're at for this window so far. There was one other thing doing the rounds that says Nunes is liking posts slating Arne Slot on Instagram, which anything Liverpool did some looking at and said not true. Again, it's the domino effect of some bad news for Liverpool, others piling on, and people just thinking the worst, believing the worst, and it spreads, which I can understand. So Harvey Blair, another youngster, David Lynch said Liverpool are open to allowing academy prospect Harvey Blair to leave in a transfer this summer. Your guess is as good as mine. And I want to just finish up with something that Paul Joyce said via @BornRed LFC the other day. I think the club have taken their eye off the ball would be his view of the Trent situation, which is not very convincing if you're hoping that everything is in hand and that you're given the benefit of the doubt. Get stuff done, please. Trent can't be allowed to go. Not on a free, not to Real Madrid. Get it sorted. So that is pretty much an update of where we're at with everything. None of this provides any clarity to us fans over anything. It's all I've heard all summer from Fabrizio Romano and many other journalists how Liverpool are looking, talking to agents, monitoring the market, being opportunistic. None of that is any good unless it ends up with a signing that makes a difference. So let's see what happens over the remaining days of this transfer window. So we will be back tomorrow. I'm recording with LFC Fan in Japan. That's going to be up on the channel and as a podcast as well at some stage tomorrow. I'll be back with the late night agenda at 8:45. And just one quick reminder before we go that we are live in Liverpool again, November 15th. If you'd like to come along and see us, Mr. Paddy Doyle's going to be our musical act on the night. Carl Porter doing some stand-up comedy. And if you want to come along, you can get your tickets with the link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who joined me on the stream tonight. It was an emotional one. If you were on the stream, you know what I'm talking about. And thank you all for everything. Your support of the channel means a lot to myself and Connor and our families. We'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.